Welcome to the Book Pub Podcast. This is a podcast where two dance enthusiasts with
hair.
We've said hair before.
Nails?
Who have cars. And
Yes, we do have cars. Debatable on you sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's out there. There's a car.
There's a car.
Love to do mountain sports.
Yes, we do love mountain sports.
Get together to talk about an author and the books that they've written. Yay. I'm Lesley.
I'm Madeline. And today we are going to explore the wonderful world of Herman Melville.
Woohoo.
The author that is part of the American Renaissance who wrote 11 novels, many short stories, and poetry. Nice. I couldn't find out how many poems he wrote, so I said poetry.
Yeah.
He wrote poetry.
I think it's weird when people say how many poems somebody wrote. Unless, like specifically, they only wrote, under a dozen poems.
Yeah.
Or something.
But, if you're into poetry, you're kind of, constantly... haikus are, 3 lines? And so you could write a haiku in, 15 minutes, and then...
But, I don't care how many poems Emily Dickinson wrote. I just know that she wrote a lot of poems.
She wrote a lot of poems. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. And we enjoy a cocktail while we talk about our authors.
Oh, yes. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Yay.
Fun fact about the podcast, if you didn't know already.
Joining in right now. Get a cocktail.
Someone listening to this for the first time is like, what is this podcast?
What is going on? Yes, we enjoy cocktails when we discuss our authors.
Yay.
And we are on Instagram.
Because we're a book pub.
Yes, it's book pub. It's like a public house where you get drinks.
Hang
but
out,
it's book.
chat.
Book related.
Yeah, book club, book pub.
Book club, book pub. Yeah. And with the world opening up too, I'm ready to hit up some pubs.
Yes.
So we are on Instagram, and I want to remind people, and we've been getting a lot of followers from other podcasters, which is really cool.
Yes.
But if anybody is listening, go ahead, find us on Instagram, and then DM me, slip into my DMs, and let me know of a cocktail that you found that could be interesting or anything.
Yeah.
I just keep looking on Instagram and say oh, there's so many fun cocktail inventors out there, and sometimes I don't really want to also invent a cocktail. I would like someone to invent one for me because this research takes a while.
Yeah.
It takes a long while. So it's if I could have someone be like, oh yeah, do this. And then secretly message me why they think that cocktail would work. So then we could get Leslie or myself to guess it. I think that could be fun. So doing a little PR right there. Want to drop some hints. Drop some major wiki hints.
Wiki. Good times.
So today, because Herman Melville was a whale of a tale.
That's a knee slapper.
I had a teacher in middle school, and he'd always say, it's a knee slapper, and he'd slap his elbow.
Wow.
Yeah. Dad jokes, I guess. I don't know. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
The elbow of the arm. Or the knee of the arm.
It is the knee of the arm. So today, we are actually going to drink a beverage that I did not do research for and just totally got from a book.
Nice.
Tequila Mockingbird, Cocktails with a Literary Twist by Tim Federle.
Cool.
And it has all these fun ones. And this one is called the Moby Drink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I love this because I love puns. And so they always do the cocktail with the pun in the name. It's great.
It's perfect.
So that is what it's called. And this is 1 ounce of vodka, a half an ounce of blue curacao. And you put that over ice. You just pour it all in over ice and then fill to the top with a lemon lime soda and a Swedish fish for garnish. So it definitely looks like a fishbowl type of thing. There's a floating fish. And this one, I love it too, because I'm just gonna read it really fast. He says, okay, combine the vodka and blue curacao over ice in a highball glass and fill to the top with the lemon lime soda. Now, for the demonic part. Grab that Swedish fish by the gills. Spear it with a swizzle stick and get plunging. Don't fall in yourself. I love it. This book is awesome. So shout out to this book. And there's several other ones that he wrote. Some are movie based. Some are Shakespeare based. So it's kind of cool.
Nice.
I have the Shakespeare and then the book one. And I do want the movie one eventually.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You can watch those movies and like get those cocktails.
Exactly. And for anyone who's listening, you'll know how stoked I was when I was like, I'm just going to do the Moby Dick drink in Tequila Mockingbird, and to see that it had blue curacao in it.
Yes.
I definitely jumped for joy.
Yes, get rid of this curacao.
I'm so close to getting rid of it. And shout out to Dana, who is one of our avid listeners and is so fed up with blue curacao. And I actually told her, I was like, there's going to be blue curacao in this drink. And she goes, no. And I go, I'm sorry, I owe you. So
Another bottle of curacao.
I'll get you another bottle of curacao. So shout out, I'm sorry, Dana. It's good times, though.
Nice.
She was prepared. Okay, so
Cool.
Let's give it a try. Oh, it's nice. Oh, I was really afraid it was going to be really, really sweet.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's not.
It's very, lemon limey.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get to that Swedish fish. Yeah. It's kind of one of my favorite candies.
They're so good.
Yeah. Your teeth are a little blue.
Yeah, of course. They turn blue right away.
Do mine?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to have to brush my teeth before my Zoom show.
Hi, guys. I've got blue teeth.
Yeah, I'm like, hi. What is wrong with this girl?
Okay, now that we are sips in, let's dive
hear
into
about the Melville.
Melville. And I have to say, I was not expecting him to be this amazing. I kind of want him to be part of our best friend group.
Ooh, okay. Part of our little dinner club of authors that we have made up in our head.
Yes, that's the best friend group.
Yes, the best friend group.
And this definitely includes
Like
Oscar Wilde.
Shakespeare.
Yep. And so I definitely...
We know who's our best friend.
We know who is our best friend group. Our dinner group. That we drink champagne or cocktails with on chaise lounges. Most of the time made out of velvet.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Dorothy Parker, Moliere, they're all part of our little group.
They are part of our group. Now he's going to be part of our group.
Cool.
He's
okay.
amazing. Herman Melville, to remind you, he was part of the American Renaissance, wrote 11 novels known for Moby Dick, one of America's classics, short stories and poems. He was born on August the 1st, 1819, to Maria Gainsvoort. It's Dutch.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, was that Dutch?
Yes. And Alan Melville. He was the third of 8 children to the Dutch-American couple. Both of his grandparents were heroes in the Revolutionary War. I think it's his mother, his father. Both were. But one, I think it was his mother's father, was the one that actually helped to lead the Boston Tea Party.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. What a cool parent or lineage.
Yeah, right? So while growing up in the 1820s, so, from born to like about 10-ish, the Melville family was financially very well off and successful. They had 3 or more servants at any given time. They kept upsizing their home every 4 years, lavish lifestyle, and eventually settled on Broadway in 1828.
Okay. What did his parents do? Why were they getting so much money?
They lived this high lifestyle because Alan, the dad, liked the life of luxury.
Okay.
He lived it up.
Okay.
They didn't really do anything.
Okay.
They did not actually have a lot of money on their own.
All right.
They would borrow from the grandparents. So their parents, they borrowed from.
Gotcha. Okay.
And took loans towards their inheritance.
Okay. oh, so we're going to get money one day. So let's,
Yeah,
get some
let's
credit.
let's get it now versus later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's smart.
Oh,
That always works out for everyone. That's
so
what I've
works
heard.
out.
Yeah.
Totally works out. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Like if you win the lottery, but like you haven't actually gotten the check, you got to go buy 5 speedboats and 3 McMansions and everything like right away.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean,
I know this money's coming, so I'm going to buy the Ferrari now.
yeah. I mean, what's wrong with that?
I hear, everyone says, oh, that ended up well.
Yeah, that's what all those books about how to get rich and be good with finances, they all suggest that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fully. No. Please don't go and borrow.
Please do not listen to this podcast for financial advice.
No, we are not financial advisors. Word of warning. They felt like the money from their parents was endless, so they just kept on going. But by 1830, Maria's family was fully fed up with this and stopped supporting them.
Sure.
Again, totally, right?
Yeah.
So they're borrowing all this money, and finally the mom, because Maria's dad died, but Maria's mom was like, I'm done, sweetie. Like, no, I don't want to keep supporting you and your husband and 8 children. Like, I'm sorry. You guys are eating caviar for breakfast.
Yeah, because it tastes good. So,
Yeah.
but we would also like to have like some caviar on the side of our caviar. So can I get some more money?
No, I'm going to cut you off now. I love you. You're pretty. Change.
Can you buy the caviar for me?
No, I'm just going to live the way I've been living, which is financially very sound for my life.
Well, I'm doing the same thing.
Totally.
I mean,
Yeah, you and your husband like buy velvet to put onto like
the toilet
dogs.
seats.
And the toilet seats.
I mean, because that's just human necessary stuff. Like just decent, normal. We're living modestly.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we went with a velvet that was not too expensive. We could have gone with a different color velvet that would have been like a little bit more. So I feel like I'm still being really frugal.
You're not investing where you should be investing. You're not actually taking care of your life.
The Trumps down the street have golden toilets. So, I mean, we didn't do that. We're not gaudy.
Oh, God. So, anyway, it didn't end up well because they were buying velvet for toilet seats. So, they fell into complete financial ruin with $20,000 in debt.
Oh my God, in 18.
Which is, this website that I was reading actually had the conversions. Yeah. So it would be $500,000 in debt in today's world.
Oh my God. That's crazy. That's bad.
Yeah, that's how bad it was. They were completely in financial ruin.
Yeah, wow.
So during this time, while they're all the 1820s and stuff, Herman started school at 5, but by age 12, he was ripped out because they couldn't really afford to even send the kids to school.
Right, so now he needs to go work in the coal mines, pretty much.
Kind of, more or less. In 1824, Herman had actually contracted scarlet fever, which left him slower in speech and comprehension. He seemed, quote unquote, backwards.
Okay.
I didn't know how to say, like, he had learning disabilities for the old-timey talk, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
they just said,
backwards.
and I quote, he seemed backwards.
Okay. That was like the polite way of saying, learning disability, I guess.
Back in the days.
Yeah.
Not now it's learning disability. And
or like some more like
learning
specific
impairments or whatever.
Yeah.
But
like
now it's like
I
they
think of as like that seems like a would be backwards.
Yeah, exactly. But that's more literal in that sense.
Yeah.
No, he just seemed. There's quotes. He seemed backwards. Mm-hmm. Your son's doing well. He's just a little backwards.
Yeah.
But then after some time, and I love that we have the vocabulary to now actually properly express like kids' needs instead of just saying it's backwards.
Yeah.
Weird times, but it's getting better.
Autistic, it has ADHD, whatever,
Yeah, let's see how we can help them. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's like, we're not exactly 100% as a society where we should be, but it's nice to know that we've actually come a very long way.
Yeah.
I like that. It's little moments like that when you look at history. But then after some time recovering, he started to rapidly increase his learning abilities. Allen says that, and this is a paraphrase quote, Herman was a great kid, but not a good student. He was such a good boy. I couldn't find it in my heart to get him to study more.
Aww.
So dad's like just this like super lavish but like very sweet man.
Yeah, I don't want to push my kid because he's just so nice.
He's so cute.
I can see why this is also a guy who would just spend a lot of money or something like
Yeah.
that. Because it's just like, almost very pushover-ish.
Kind of like a Timon of Athens.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. I also think of it's like, I don't want to eat my vegetables. Oh, well, you do look really sweet in that t-shirt. So yeah. It's fine. You don't have to eat your vegetables.
Yeah. No, it's better to not be a pushover. In 1829, Herman and one of his brothers were enrolled at Columbia Prep with the English department. But then with the shift in family dynamics and finances, it forces him to drop out, get pulled out of school. The family can't afford NYC anymore, New York City, for those who are familiar with that abbreviation. So they moved to Albany, which is upstate New York. And Herman is able to attend school there, but just for 1 year. So from like October to October.
Cool. Okay.
But then it still was too hard to afford education. This family is $500,000 in debt.
Yeah.
I can't even
loan for our kids' education.
like just to be able to send them to education. And I don't know, but I don't think there was such a thing as like actually like public schooling. Like I think you actually still had to pay for any type of schooling.
Yeah. Because that's a great system. When you have to pay for school as opposed to having it.
Being educated was definitely for the rich. So he isn't educated. Mm-hmm. By the time he's like 15, he's not educated. In December of 1831, Alan, the dad, is traveling back to Albany via steamboat. But due to ice blocks, they transfer passengers to open air carriages, and he has to travel for 2 days in -degree weather.
Oh my God. Wait, and out on the open?
Yeah, just open New York, blizzards, -degree weather.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I hope he had a good coat.
He didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because he basically loses his mind after that.
Wow.
And dies a month later in January of 1832.
Holy shit.
So it's like hypothermia or something. I don't know the science behind it, but it made his brain go meh, and he like wigged out for a whole month and was like slowly dying.
Oh, wow.
It was horrific, and it was a horrible death that Herman had to witness. Like he's sitting there watching his dad
go crazy
and
death.
slowly die. Yeah. Yeah. Like, whoa. And this is 1830.
It's not the way I want to go.
And this is 1832. So at this point, if he was born in August of 1819, he's like 12, 13 years old. And he's watching his dad, it's like, whoa.
Go insane to death.
So this is something that he actually ends up writing about even.
Oh.
And a lot of his writing, I'm going to say this now, a lot of his writing is actual from personal experience. Mm-hmm. Like he never was like, I'm just going to make this up in my head. Almost everything he wrote was from personal experience.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Which is really cool. But yeah, and I think it's like cathartic and he was able to write about it.
Yeah. So
at this age, Herman gets a job at a bank to help with family finances and makes $15 a year.
I was hoping you'd say $15 an hour.
$150 a year. I forgot the zero, but I remember that it was $150 a year.
Okay, that's better than 15.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, even with that conversion, that doesn't sound
great.
Good.
It's $150, but today he's only making $3,800 a year.
I mean, okay.
Not bad, but I mean, he's just there to help the family. But
$3,800?
Yeah, $3,800 for an entire year.
Oh, I was putting an extra zero on that one.
No.
Oh,
yeah, he's not making a lot of money for his family.
Yeah, that's not anything.
Yeah. But he's helping, and it's good. And he's one of 8, so he's third of 8. Mm-hmm. So he's got,
he's got
siblings that are probably helping. Yeah, so it's like it's not too much. So I think
he's not the only one. Not it's not like everyone else is like useless.
Yes, exactly. The paternal grandpa dies.
Okay. So we get some inheritance now, right? Yeah?
Yeah, but it turns out Alan actually borrowed a lot more towards the inheritance than they knew about.
Ooh.
So someone shows up basically with a $20 bill and says, oh, there you go, which is basically $500 in today's world.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So they really lived a life of luxury. If
Yeah.
they were $500,000 in debt, and he borrowed against all of his inheritance except for $500 worth.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Talk about your shocker.
Yeah.
You leave me with 8 children, and you dove us into the ground before you died, and then you leave us with nothing. Oh, I would be so mad if I was Maria. I'd be so mad.
Well, it sounds like she was kind of culpable for the whole thing too. I mean, I don't know. Like, doesn't sound like she's totally innocent.
No, but still, like, I would be like, because again, like, as a female in the 1800s.
Yeah, the man's supposed to take care of everything. It's not my responsibility to know how much money we have.
And say that with the Dutch accent. Yes.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I only think the Dutch can. And Mike Myers.
Oh, yeah.
Because he played Gold Member and the Dutch.
Yeah.
I don't even know if his Dutch accent was
probably
actually
not.
good, but...
Did he just do more of like a Swedish thing or something? I think he was kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Herman is actually a really good banker. And he falls in love with drawing at this time. So it shows that he's kind of got these like mathematical brain meets like this artistic brain. Like he's all like, I'm really good with... He's you!
I know. I was going to say, I'm like, I get this. I totally relate.
Yeah, he's you. He's all about the numbers and good calculating, crunching.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm going to paint this really beautiful landscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that, you know?
See, are you wanting him at the best friend table yet?
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah. So you guys could talk about like number crunching and then also like veer off onto some like artsy thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because it makes sense. Because like, I feel like people I know who do what they like to do in their free time for a living, you know, you just get over inundated with that kind of thing. Like if you're paid to be a writer, but then, you know, you want to go home and write your own stuff, it's hard because you're like, I've just been writing all day, you know? And for me, it's like, well, I'm playing with math all day. And so now I really want to play with words and I want to play in that world.
Yeah, it makes sense. I totally get it because as a librarian right now, I read all day. So I actually have stopped doing a lot of personal reading lately.
Yeah.
Because I read all day, but I read kids' books all day.
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of his older brothers, Herman's older brothers, starts a business in the fur trade with a prepping, quote unquote, factory. I didn't know another word for it.
So he's not a furrier? He's like the person who like chops the skin off the animals or something?
No. His fur trade prepping was, they gave him the skins.
Okay.
And so then he prepped the skins so that like they wouldn't fall apart, like given solution kind of a thing.
Yeah, right.
Washed, all that good stuff.
Oh, okay. Not too bad.
So, but this quote unquote factory, again, it's not really a factory because it's the 1800s, but like his little shop factory business thing.
Shop with an extra P and E at the end of it.
Exactly. Love those. Burns down, and he can't afford to pay anyone else to work for him. So he pulls Herman out of the banking world and employs him.
You're a furrier now, kid.
Okay. So I want to pay attention to the amount of jobs Herman Melville had.
Okay.
So far, he's been a banker and worked in the fur trade. So in 1835, while still in the fur trade, and with some help from his maternal grandmother, he is able to go back to school and kind of finish up with his education.
Okay.
This actually leads him into the teaching profession. So he now starts to become a teacher.
Nice.
And that's great. So now he's out of fur, working in education, kind of doing his thing.
Are you a little jealous that like he probably just basically graduated from high school and you could have a job as a teacher?
Well, by 1835, he would have been like 25, 26.
Yeah, but still, like he doesn't have.
Oh, wait. 1835. No,
No,
he's
he
still a
would've-
teenager.
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah.
I'm bad at math, so.
So he's still someone. He's
He's a teenager and he's teaching.
Yeah. You didn't have to get all that student debt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's a little easier on him. His brother's business ends up going bankrupt. And so the rest of the family move because,
I mean, I guess Herman should have stayed a banker because that could have helped the whole bankruptcy thing.
Right? Hindsight. So yeah, the family is like, we can't even afford Albany anymore. We got to move. Yeah. And
to Canada.
So, but I don't understand. Like, they don't sell their house or anything.
They rented it out on Airbnb instead. Get a little extra cash.
Herman actually stays behind to look after the farm and continues teaching. So I don't an Airbnb.
Yeah, an Airbnb on the side. All those
theoretically, yes.
In New York, you can do that when you have someone still living in the house. Like you can rent it out all the time. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they are in the state of New York, just several hundred years earlier. But yes. By 1837,
Airbnb is an old company. I mean, it's been around forever.
Totally.
George Washington has reviews of Airbnbs.
I bet there is a George Washington actually out there reviewing.
Just everything. That would be fun.
Reviewing everything.
Yeah.
It's like, George Washington really likes El Pollo Loco.
I know. I'd love to read his Yelp reviews on restaurants because like there'd probably be all this talk about like, you know, his crazy teeth.
It would be weird.
Yeah, this Jamba Juice didn't hurt my teeth, you know.
Well, if you have wooden teeth, does your teeth hurt?
Yeah, wooden teeth, and then he wasn't just wooden teeth. He also had like real people teeth that were made into a weird thing. It's totally fucked up.
I just knew about the wooden teeth.
That's the nice story.
Anyway, this is getting on a weird, gross subject. So I'm going to go back to Herman. By 1837, Herman gets a little something published. So that's his first time getting published. It's 1837 in like a newspaper in Albany kind of a thing. He's just like, I'm dabbling with writing, working as a teacher, working on this
like
farm.
A nonfiction thing or something?
It didn't really say what it was. It was just kind of like a little story, and I don't know.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
But he also is attempting a career in engineering.
All right. Well, that also usually requires a lot of education.
Yeah. But it flops. He was like trying to pull like the strings like, I know this person who knows this person. Can you give me a job in engineering to learn the trade? And yada,
my
yada.
cousin's ex-girlfriend's brother, veterinarian, told me.
Yes. So, yeah, no, that flops. In 1839, Herman gets a job on a merchant ship and sails as like a cabin boy and sails from New York to Liverpool and back.
I feel in some ways that like, I don't know, his careers are not going in a linear direction, nor are they going like in an upward direction either.
No, he's just kind of like.
I feel like banking was probably one of like the better,
and he was good at it.
Would be more lucrative down the line kind of position, and now he's just kind of slowly made himself more impoverished.
Yes. Because now he's a cabin boy on a merchant ship.
Yeah.
Which is just sailing goods back and forth.
Like teacher was a good job, like, you know, stable, whatever. You're not going to maybe like really build yourself up and have like a bigger career, but, you know, good, stable work. You know, the furrier thing, I mean, that was kind of in there. But that could have been, that's still business, like could have done. I don't know. I just feel like he's going down.
Yeah, I mean, he seems, I don't know. He just, yeah.
It's like, next he'll be like a janitor, you know?
Like, what? But I do have respect for janitors. Without them, the world would be a disaster.
Yeah. He'll be the apprentice for a janitor, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, he sails back and forth, and when he gets back from working on this merchant ship, he gets a job as a teacher, but for a semester.
Okay.
Because he isn't paid, and so he's like, well,
that wasn't a good...
That's not...
That was not a good negotiation.
No, he's like, It's a semester in. Where's my paycheck?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you know we're not paying you? This is not a paid position.
Then I've got to go because I need money.
Really? Are you sure?
I grew up really wealthy and now I'm really poor. So I'm not okay with this. So he leaves and moves to Illinois to work for his uncle. And while there, he reads a Knickerbocker magazine article about a hunt for a great white sperm whale named Moby Dick. Okay. This actually inspires him to go to New England, the East Coast, to New Bedford, and to sign up to be on a whaling ship. So he reads the story and he's like, oh, cool, I want to do that. I just sailed on a merchant ship, so I know I'm okay to be on a boat.
Right.
I'm going to go and be on a whaling ship.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, because he's in his 20s now, pretty much?
Yeah, 1839. Yeah, exactly 20 years old.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, that's like every 20-year-old kid. Like, it feels like
I'm gonna
they all go to
something.
Alaska to get whales, hunt lobster, whatever the hell they're doing up there in Alaska, you know? And
and during this time,
before they move to a ski resort. Is that what he's going to do next? He's going to move to a ski resort and become a snowboard instructor?
I wish, but that is definitely not on the table because skiing in the way we practice it actually didn't even happen until like the 1900s.
Yeah.
No, so this is where, it's a really lucrative job to be on a whaling ship because everyone was using everything whale, especially the whaling oil.
Yeah.
It was how you lit up a city. Yeah. So thank God for electricity so that whales don't die anymore. But that was the fundamentals of like living.
No, and now instead we kill them through oil spills. It's a fun humanitarian irony.
So I have to say, like, as this quick side note, so while I'm doing all this research, I don't know if it was like a subliminal, but Herman was not on my mind. Like, my research wasn't on my mind. And I just was like, I want to watch a movie tonight. And so I made Zach watch Big Miracle with me. It just popped up on Netflix. I was like, let's watch it. And I sobbed through the whole thing. And I was screaming about making sure whales are okay and all this good stuff. And then the next morning, I'm like, okay, I was super upset. Zach was like, what did I marry? What the hell? I was so upset. It's so sad. So I wake up the next morning, kind of everything's like, I'm just fresh. Everything's good. And I start diving back into Herman. And Zach just looks at me and goes, so last night you were so upset because the whales and they died and things. And now you're doing research on a whaling vessel where they killed whales. I go, oh, when you put it like that, I sound crazy.
I just want to know all the ways that humans have injured whales over the,
I was like,
all this time.
Oh my God. Okay, so yes, I'm a little crazy. So, but it was a lucrative job because it was rampant. It's sad. It's a sad fact, but that's the way life was. So he joins the whaling ship, the Auschnitt.
Okay.
I looked it up, but
how close that name is.
It's ACUCHNET.
Okay.
Like Auschnitt.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up, but it was like the person who said it was like a electronic person, so I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I hate when that happens. So I'm like, I don't know if you're actually, or if you're just being a Siri that's weird and dumb.
Yeah, like she can't pronounce like Spanish names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you got that wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, so he signs up on Christmas and then sets sail on January 3rd. 1841. He was part of a very large crew because there were 20 other young men just in his bunk alone. So It's a massive ship.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
A lot of people. He sails the Bahamas down to Brazil, makes a pit stop in Brazil, goes around the Cape Horn, and ends up hanging out in the Galapagos.
Nice.
June is the first time that the ship lays anchor since their quick pit stop in Brazil. So that's 6 months with only touching land once.
Oh man. Yeah.
So it's a hard life. So it really sucks because the whales did not need to die. I get it because they needed light, but I wish they had just figured out something sooner before all those poor whales died. But at the same time, the men aboard those ships were actually living a really rough life, like the roughest life.
Yeah.
And not touching land, and just your life's constantly in danger, and you're out at sea where you're just not able to eat and drink much healthy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
so it's
'cause
like, I blame the up and ups.
Fresh, really, like, oh, no fresh fruit or anything
Yeah.
like that. Like, that's just like,
It's rough, and it's really backbreaking work.
as a vegetarian, don't know if I would live. I would just be eating crackers.
You would probably die.
Yeah, crackers and rum, and that would be like my diet.
It's your diet of crackers and rum.
Yeah.
You sound like a pirate. Arr. Yeah, it was like, it's the people up on the top wanted the oil to help the people, but then the people had to go and do that hard, horrible labor, and all those whales were dying. It's rough, man. Times were rough.
They had to sail uphill both ways.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how that works, but it happened.
It works.
So in 1842, Herman and a fellow shipmate, Richard Green, aka Toby, jump ship.
Ooh.
They're like, oh, I'm so over this. It's hard work. This is hard. I don't like watching the whales die. So they straight up go and the Ashnet, whatever it is, pauses on this island, and they're like, it's like when those cruises and the honk of the horn, like, get back to the boat. You have 30 minutes to get back to the boat. That happened, but they're like, nope, I'm staying right here.
Yeah. I'm not leaving.
Not leaving.
Let's pretend we didn't hear the honky horn thingy from the boat.
Yeah, like, what? I'm sorry. And so they live with the local natives for like 6 months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, or like, it's probably less than 6 months, but like for a few months, they're just like chilling and getting to know the people and eating fresh fruit, fruit, and so much better. But by August, he's like, okay, we gotta go. And so he finds passage on a passing ship headed for Tahiti.
Okay.
So he gets on this, and it's another whaling ship. And they were like, okay, there's like an agreement of sharing the proceeds from the whaling oil, yada, yada, yada. But he's part of a crew that says, you know what, I actually don't like this. I don't like this arrangement. And they commit mutiny.
What?
They're mutineers.
Oh my God, he has a pirate now.
Yes, Herman Melville was a freaking pirate. He committed mutiny. But he's jailed for it.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't get away with it.
I mean, that happens. You go into a high-speed chase on the freeway, like, you're gonna get caught by the cops.
Yeah.
Like, at some point.
So he's jailed in Tahiti, but he escapes jail.
What?
I know. Like, how cool is this guy? He's like, I'm gonna, like, do stuff with my life.
He's a character from a video game. Like,
right? Oh my God, that would be, like, the coolest video game to be Herman Melville. Oh, I would so play that in a heartbeat. And I don't play a lot of video games, but I would play that one.
Yeah.
So when he escapes, he, with another shipmate, John B. Troy, travels through the islands to hang out, and he becomes a beachcomber and an island rover.
That sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song.
Yeah. So he's just like
Beachcomber, island rover.
he's just like hanging out,
Mai Tai.
combing the beach for like washed up
Take
supplies.
off my tie.
He definitely was not wearing a tie. He's just like combing the beach looking for like washed up supplies to like resell, and just like being like, oh, I'm gonna go to this island now, and I'm gonna go here.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, he's just like chilling in like the South Pacific and just being like, life's good, man.
Eating a cheeseburger in paradise.
He is eating. He is Jimmy Buffett.
1800s Jimmy Buffett.
He is the 1800s Jimmy Buffett. Somehow, I'm not entirely sure, but somehow he ends up in Nantucket. I don't know how. So he's hanging out in the South Pacific.
He said, fuck it. And
I'm going to Nantucket. And he joins as a harpooner for another whaling ship, which lasts 6 months. And this job...
Why does he keep doing this when he knows he doesn't like it?
He's like, I need money, man.
I mean, and then, like, who are these people who are hiring him for this? Because it's like, okay, for the first one, it's like...
they didn't have references back then. Because you couldn't,
still,
like, pick up the phone and be like, hi, so this Herman guy, what do you actually feel about him? He caused mutiny.
Well, and before that, he quit the job in the middle of it.
Yeah. Didn't fulfill his contract.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, anything else? Yeah. He also, was part of a mutiny. Went to jail. He's kind of a felon. You know?
Kind of crazy. So you
totally backwards.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
I understand why people said he was backwards, because he's doing life backwards.
He is. Oh God, I love him so much. And I just want to read like all of his books now. Yeah, so you can't sit there and like compare notes. It's like, take my word for it. I'm good for the job. Yeah.
Plus, all the whaling people are out. It's not like they're congregating together.
And a lot died, too, so it's, like, hard to actually keep track of stuff.
It's like, oh, thank God my boss from my old job died, so no one will send him, like, I don't know, pigeon carrier letter to find out what's wrong with me.
Do not hire Herman Melville. Why is this pigeon flying above me with a giant sign that says, do not hire Herman Melville? I will never hire this Herman Melville.
You send parrots, right? And then they just speak the letter for you.
Oh, yeah,
and then they don't have to worry about the letter being lost at sea.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And then can actually talk. So this last whaling job left him in Hawaii, and he lived in Hawaii for 4 months.
Okay.
Just finding whatever, like, kind of knick-knack job to just support his life. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you need the rain gutters cleaned? Great, $50 kind of a thing. Not really known exactly what he did. He then joins the U.S. Navy.
Okay, they should probably be able to know, like, what his reputation is somehow.
You would think, but
I guess they've always just taken anyone.
Oh my God. So this is like hardcore. I mean, no, it's really actually kind of hard. Nowadays, the Navy has such prestige, but I don't know about then. But it's just hilarious because he started off in the world of working as a banker.
Yeah, he was a banker.
To a fur trade, to a teacher, to dabbling in the art of engineering, to being a cabin boy on a merchant ship, to being on a whaling ship, to basically being a beach bum. So you said snowboard instructor? I was like, kind of. Just beach bum instead. Yeah. To another whaling ship.
Same personality, different climate.
Yes. To then being in the U.S. Navy.
I know.
He is so interesting.
Yeah, did they make you like have to, have the haircut and shave your beard and stuff like that?
You could actually find out because, like I said, many of his books, and I'm going to review like all of it, but many of his books were inspired by his real life events, and he actually wrote about being in the Navy in the book White Jacket.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you could actually know exactly.
Yeah.
What
I'm sure he talks about it because he's a detailed motherfucker.
Yes. He is discharged in Boston by 1844.
Okay.
So he basically traveled the world and was just sailing the seven seas from 1839 to 1844.
Nice.
That's only 5 years. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff he did in 5 years is incredible to me.
Well, you had to do a lot back then, and, you didn't have Netflix or social media to keep you from actually living life.
Yes, exactly. He was like causing mutinies and living with Tahitian people and cannibals and all this stuff and joining the Navy and for 5 years. It was like, wow. And he was stuck on a boat for most of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Herman goes home. I'm home.
Finally back in Albany.
Yes, and he settles down, and he is said to have a restless spirit who does not like authority.
Well,
so that's what those 5 years taught him.
Real clear.
Yeah, he's like, I really don't like authority. Like, I really, really don't like authority. Well, what do you mean by that? I will mutinize this shit out of this.
I
Do
will
not tell me
burn
what
it
to
all
do.
to the ground if you tempt me.
Do not tell me to pick up my fork. Fine, Herman, you can put your fork on the ground.
Well, and I mean, I don't think it's just those 5 years that had taught him that. I mean, again, his dad was like, "Oh, that's cool if you don't want to study because you're cute." You know?
Yes, exactly. And he kind of was cute. So, yeah. And he just is constantly hanging out with his family and his friends. And he's just telling them all about his adventures. Like, you know, you get back from study abroad and you're like, I need to tell you every single moment of it.
Yeah.
And they actually encourage him to write about it.
Sure.
So he does. He's like, well, this is great. Yeah, I've done a lot of other things. I've attempted writing. I'm going to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that one article when I was 15 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's 1845. So he's in
I
his
know what
late
pens are.
He's
I've
in his
picked
late
one up
20s.
before.
Yeah, he's like, I can do this. I can totally do this. And he writes his first book, Typee, which is inspired from his time living with the natives when he jumped ship.
Oh, cool.
And they're cannibals, and he just kind of wrote about that.
Sweet.
It was first published in London because no one was publishing it in the US. But because it became an overnight success in London, the US then published it 1 month later.
Yeah. Cool.
Then he writes Omu, the sequel, and the same character travels around Tahiti, and it's about like traveling through Tahiti. And I actually listened to a little bit of it on Audible, and it's very approachable. It's only like 9 hours on Audible, so it's like a very easy short book.
Yeah.
And really nicely written where it's not like confusing.
Yeah.
So this is in 1847. So 45 was his first. Omu, his second, 1847. He also gets married that year to a Miss Elizabeth Knapp Shaw. And they only knew each other for 3 months.
Wow. I mean, you had to do things quick back then.
Yeah, but I thought that was romantic. He's like, I've lived a lot. I know what I want. This is the woman I want.
Aww.
They end up having 4 kids together and do a lot of
Wow.
traveling and have good days. And 2 boys and 2 girls for his kids, too. Thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Nice and even. So then he writes in 47, gets married. 1848, a book, Marty, is published. 1849, Redburn is published. 1850, White Jacket. 1851, The Whale.
The Whale.
So
Yes.
he's just like one after the other. Every year, a new book.
Wow.
It was 45, skip 46, but then 47, 48, 49, 50, and 51.
Okay.
So he like pounds them out.
Yeah, he's got those like R.L. Stein, Hardy Boys, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He's just
Been
like,
going.
get them out, get them out, get them out. So The Whale is the original title for Moby Dick.
Yes.
The Whale. And it is published in the UK as a trilogy, which makes sense. He was probably like, I've written a lot here. This should be a trilogy. Like, let's not make it one thing.
Yeah.
Then the US gets a hold of it, and they're like, it's one big book.
Yeah.
We're going to save money on covers. That book is so big. And he knew what he was talking about, and he had fun talking about what it was. And it would have been great as a trilogy.
I guess. I think if it was a trilogy, I would have stopped after the first book and never picked it up again.
I don't know. I feel like it should have been a trilogy and stayed a trilogy. And in the US, it's called Moby Dick.
Because that's a much more erotically fun name.
I mean, who knows what it was, why they named it that back in the day.
I don't know. The whale's kind of boring.
The Whale.
The whale. You can't make that sound cool. Like if that was on a poster. I don't know.
Yeah. So during this time that he's writing and living life and marrying Elizabeth, he borrows $3,000 from his father-in-law to buy land and build his home.
We still have money. Oh, father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
Different family. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Elizabeth's dad.
Yeah.
To buy land and build his home, which is called Arrowhead. It is still standing today and used as a museum now.
Is it in Albany? Or where are they now?
It's in New York. I don't know if it's actually... Oh, yeah. It's in New York.
Okay.
Massachusetts? Cambridge? Somewhere on the East Coast.
All right. Yeah, one of those places.
And we'll get to that in a
We're
second.
from California.
We don't know. But he publishes a book called Pierre or the Ambiguities, which is a psychological romance and is a complete flop.
Oh.
He is even called crazy for it. Like, there is an actual headline on a newspaper that says, Herman Melville is crazy.
And backwards.
And backwards. So, fruit doth not fall far from the tree.
Okay.
He borrows the $3,000, hoping that his next book will give him the money back.
Yeah.
Just like his dad, with borrowing against the inheritance.
Uh-huh.
They don't have money.
Oh, no.
And they're in a financial struggle.
I mean, I guess
And
it's
no one
safer
wants
than
to-
gambling.
Yeah. No one wants to publish him anymore.
Oh my god!
It was like the one and done
book.
Mhm. Yeah, it was like
Jesus,
one and
people.
done. One and done.
I mean, I guess cancel culture has always existed then.
Yeah, right. Which is a terrifying thought. So he gets this one book that he had written published in installments in a magazine, like a monthly magazine. He would publish it in installments. Mm-hmm. And this is when he starts to turn to more like short stories and poems. So he still wants to write, but he knows like I can't write a full novel.
Yeah,
'cause
no
I
one's
need
gonna
to
publish me.
think about life.
Man, so people called him crazy for writing a book that was bad.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I really want to read it because I want to know why was
Like,
such an
well,
uproar.
Why is it so bad?
I don't know.
Yeah, like was it just bad? Like, or is it like they didn't? I don't know. They didn't like the subject matter, at that time or something.
I have no idea.
I'm hoping it's that because then maybe it's actually a good book and we can just like
Love it now.
rediscover it like all
Well,
those.
The Well didn't do well in the U.S. either. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of like the beginning of the downfall. But now we consider it one of America's greatest novels,
Right.
and people read a lot into what he was writing.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, yeah, I really want to read this Pierre or the Ambiguities to know like,
Yeah.
why was it such a shocker?
I love what was that in Parks and Recreation when Ron Swanson is talking about Moby Dick and he's like,
Metaphors? I hate metaphors. That's why my favorite book is Moby Dick. No frou-frou symbolism, just a good simple tale about a man who hates an animal. That's enough for today, I think. Does the white whale actually symbolize the unknowability and meaninglessness of human existence? Yeah, no. That's just a fish.
Yeah, because honestly, like based on like just Herman Melville and just knowing that he wrote from experience and that he was just kind of like this really cool, adventurous dude, I don't know if he was trying to make it this symbolic novel about westward expansion.
well, I don't know about that, but like, I mean, I would say I would hope so because like, otherwise it's really fucking boring. Honestly, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, when someone told me that it's because I'm like, dude, there's all these. It's just like pages and fucking pages of like descriptions of like, whaling.
I've never read it, but the movie's really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie.
It's a really good.
It's
movie.
like half of that book is like just these detailed descriptions that it's just like it's so boring and it's just like what is this? And then I had some people who I know who like actually studied it and stuff, and they would say that like, oh, those descriptions, part of it, the reason they're there is to like to show the monotony of the idea of revenge, that revenge isn't just this like high stakes, woo, yeah, kind of situation that like
okay, I could see that,
Yeah.
like this idea of like revenge and it being monotonous and planning, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the same with Count of Monte Cristo. It's actually also a very boring book and not a lot happens, but it does show that like revenge is a slow burning process.
Yeah, and I'm like, that makes sense. And then and also I guess people talk about like Moby Dick, like one of the things is the limitations of knowledge, that like we're limited with what we know about ourselves, about nature, about humanity, etc.
Which, okay, I could see all that.
And so like
because
adding
again,
in,
he's super, like, they actually say like he came back from living this life with nature and stuff, and he became more like, I need nature, I don't like people.
Yeah. So having all of that, like, so constantly talking about all the details of like everything that not Ahab, the narrator guy, Ishmael, yes,
They call me Ishmael.
Yes. Like, so all of the description stuff has to do with that whole idea of like the limitations of knowledge, that like here's everything I can know, but I still am so unable to know things, you know?
That makes more sense. Because again, never really studied it, never really read it. I just know that beginning line. And I saw the movie. That when I looked at it, it's like this, I saw a lot of like, oh, it's this great commentary on westward expansion and yada yada. I'm like, I don't know if it's that, like, based on him, but it makes more sense what you're saying, like man versus nature, our relationship with nature, our knowledge, our limitations, the slow burn idea of revenge. And because then that's more him, that aligns more with his life and his experiences.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I've heard from you know, English masters program people, so you know,
I'll take it. So okay, so yeah, he's having a hard time getting his stuff published. He actually has to sell his house Arrowhead to his brother so that they can afford to move to New York.
Furrier?
One of his brothers. Again, 7th of 8, and all the names really started to blend at that point. It's like, which brother was that? I don't remember. And they all have very Dutch names.
Russian names are fine, but like, you know, even though they all ended ski, but like, what, Americanish names? Names
Dutch
like
American,
Herman?
yeah. It was harder. Yeah, if it's more interesting in flows, it was, I don't know. Yeah, it was just kind of like, was that John or was that Toby? I don't know. So they moved to New York City, and that's where they lived for the rest of their days. He, like I said, never really makes it big again. He borrows $1,500 from his father-in-law.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
At this point, because he sold Arrowhead, I think they're like now like just middle class, and they never fall into complete financial ruin again. He's like this. So $1,500, he travels around Europe and the Holy Land for 6 months with his wife. So they go on like a romantic 6-month vacation. Don't know what happened to the children, but you know. It's like, wait, did you just like leave your kids home? Bye, kids. We're going to be gone for 6 months. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, we left some peanut butter and bread.
You'll be fine.
In the cabinet. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. Pour out the cereal in like, you know, dog bowl style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're good, right?
But I think it's romantic that he traveled with his wife.
Just remember, if any strangers come to the door, just tell them mom and dad are in the shower for the next 6 months.
Yes, exactly. Oh, God. So this inspires more short stories and poetry. So he's now kind of making this like somewhat like lower level wages from these short stories and poems. So again, they're not in fully financial ruin. When they return, he becomes a public lecturer and tours around Americas. So like some of this, you know, Mexico and like a little bit of South America. And the U.S., obviously, and Canada. And he does this 3 times. So that's cool. So he's now done a public lecturer job.
Nice. What did he talk about?
Well, remember how when we did Oscar Wilde and how he became it's just like you have this idea. It's like TED Talks.
Oh, cool.
The original TED Talks. You were just like a public lecturer about something that you do. And people would pay to go see this. I mean, we still do it. TED Talks.
Yeah, I'd like to see Herman Melville's TED Talk.
Oh, yeah. It'd be a very interesting TED Talk. So after doing that 3 times, he comes back, and this is now 1866.
Okay. All right. Civil War.
So, no. Well, yes, but like, no, it doesn't have to do with the Civil War. 1866. So if he's born in 1819, by 1866, he's 45? And he gets a job as a customs inspector for New York City.
I feel like I heard this randomly from some...
I was shocked. His life, he's in his mid-40s, he's done so much, and he becomes a...
And now I want to work for TSA.
Yeah, I'm going to work for TSA. And he does it for 19 years.
Wow.
And that's it.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he finally settles down at 45, and for the next 19 years, basically works for the 1800 version of TSA. Customs inspector.
Yeah. Sir, do you have any illegal drugs in your suitcase?
People, if only they knew I was Herman Melville. Just, yeah, okay, next.
Put your hands up. Okay.
Okay. I wrote the freaking whale. That took me a long time. Yep. Okay. Next. So after 19 years of doing,
Gotta take off your shoes.
oh, the smelly feet. Oh God, I would never want to be that. So after doing this for 19 years, in 1884, his wife comes into some money, and Herman retires. And he spends his days, and this was hilarious. They were like, he spent a lot of money on books and paper. So yeah, he just,
Yeah.
So I translated that into my brain as he spent his days just relaxing and reading.
Yeah, doing it right.
Yeah, he's like, he lived hard in his early 20s to mid 40s, gets a stable job, raises a family, retires, and then just reads.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Who is it? What wasn't there someone like some senator or some senator's like dad or something like that who said something about how like oh my gosh, I can't believe like people when they're older, you know, and they're not contributing to society, and what are they doing all day? They're just traveling and reading, and like, you know, what kind of life is that? And I'm like, sounds like a freaking awesome fucking life.
The best life. Okay. On September 28th, 1891, Herman Melville dies of cardiac dilation.
Okay. Which is kind of like a heart attack.
I think just like a heart attack type thing.
Except
Like
it's dilated.
Complications with the heart. Mm-hmm. I think it was probably quick.
Yeah, somebody turned the light off, and so the heart dilated, like the pupil.
Sure, there's definitely many other forms of dilation. It's like, I was like, you know, kidney dilation.
I'm real good at science stuff.
Really good. She's top notch. She knows. He is buried in the Bronx. Oh. And there's a square in New York City that is named Herman Melville. So that's the story, the awesome epic story of Herman Melville. Are you ready for the fun facts?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fun fact. Moby Dick was actually a fictionalized account of a true story, of a story that he heard while he was out on sea on the whaling adventures. So he heard this story.
Okay.
And I think he would have named it Moby Dick because of the original article that inspired it, the Mocha Dick.
Oh, Mocha Dick.
Yeah, so Mocha Dick, so he probably did like an homage, like this article inspired 5 years of my life. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give homage to that, but it had nothing to do with the original article. It was actually a fictionalized story of something he heard while out on the seven seas. Arr.
Oh, the guy who just was like fucking obsessed with a whale. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and chasing it down and, you know, getting beaten up by a whale and people dying and then marooned and all that stuff. Lots happens in Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Arrowhead was named after the numerous arrowheads that he found while building. And it is actually neighbors, colonial, post-colonial, early 1800s America neighbors, with Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Oh, cool.
So Herman and Hawthorne were actually BFFs, and they would go to each other's houses all the time.
Oh, wow.
And there's like accounts of just like Herman coming and knocking at the door. He's like, hey, and Nathaniel's like, I'm too busy, I'm writing. You're like, okay, come on over for dinner next week.
That's great that you told me that, because I was thinking about doing Hawthorne like in the near distant future. But now I'm like, okay, gotta put him on the back burner for a little longer since we just did Melville.
Yes, and they're besties.
Yeah.
And Moby Dick is actually even dedicated to Nathaniel Hawthorne. It says for Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Aww.
So
to my buddy Nate.
Yeah, it's my buddy Nate, my best friend.
Yeah, Natey Hawk's over there.
Yeah. His chimney was the favorite part of the house.
Why?
I don't know. He just loved it. He actually wrote a short story called I and My Chimney. And he even
Santa Claus comes through there,
right.
and I don't know, helps with producing your heat.
I don't know. He just really liked his chimney, and he even like wrote it on the chimney. I and My Chimney.
Oh my god!
Which you can still see today. So if you go to his house and take a tour, you can see him writing I and My Chimney.
That's really.
He's eccentric.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like lamp.
Arrowhead actually faces a mountain that looks like a breaching whale. So he was able to stare at this mountain of a breaching whale and keep being inspired while he's writing Moby Dick.
Well, plus also like having an infant sightline really helps with like creative thought and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
There you go. See, now that explains more. His last work was unpublished and unfinished, and it was actually found in a metal bread tin and published by his granddaughter in 1924.
he didn't stuff it up in the chimney.
No, he didn't stuff it up the chimney. Damn. He should have.
I know.
Okay, here's my favorite fun fact, and it's the last one, and I just thought it was hilarious. So his mom actually added the ending E in Melville
Okay.
once the dad died.
Ooh, interesting.
So his birth name is Melvill. If you look up Herman Melville, it's Melville.
Yeah.
Because mom was like, I'm adding an E. Boom.
I mean, did she think that like that we got to change the name so we can avoid the debt collectors or something?
So I'm going to add an E?
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add an E so I won't confuse the children about what our name is. But then I will totally put them off the, trail of where we are and who we are. Oh, I'm sorry. You're looking for the Melvilles? We're the Melvilles.
Yeah, right? I thought it was hilarious. Or was it like a fuck you to your husband who like kind of screwed you over financially because he should have...
Yeah, but how is that a fuck you? It's like the smallest, like,
I'm going
most
to change your last
inconsequent-
name.
Yeah, but still. But
your
like,
legacy. I'm going to change your last name.
yeah,
But with
but
an E.
still, yeah, exactly. It's putting on the Groucho Marx, glasses and mustache and thinking that you have a disguise,
Yes.
or something. It's just like the
I
most
know.
like change everyone, like your kids' names to like your maiden name or something. You know what I mean? To like be like, yeah, you're dead. Look, now we're not even gonna have your name. Like, you don't have any legacy, like name wise. You're not passing that on to anyone. I don't know.
I have
Like,
no idea.
You're not going to be passing on your name. I'm adding an E to the end of it.
I don't know. It was so weird.
That's very-
Probably my
okay.
most favorite fun fact ever.
Yeah, because it's very complicated, and I want to write like 5,000 words on like what the hell that might mean.
Why did she choose this in her life?
Oh my gosh, that's silly.
So there you go. That's the story of Herman Melville, adventurer, philanderer. Well, not really a philanderer, but he was
Many
a looker.
job haver.
Many job haver. He had a lot. He was definitely that. Like he was so today, but 1800s version.
Yeah.
Like go out,
He's-
try a bunch of jobs.
He's Gen Y.
Yeah, he is Gen Y.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna have a job, and then I'm just gonna like travel around in my Astro van, and
And,
hashtag
like,
van life,
Hashtag, oh my god.
hashtag boat
Finding
life.
random things, living with like a random group of people. like,
I'm
oh,
gonna
yeah,
go
that, like, one
kayaking
summer-
in Mexico until I'm broke and
Yeah,
just
or
like,
like that one summer that I joined like a commune.
yeah. Organic farming up in Humboldt.
Yeah, exactly.
Organic farming.
He is so cool. So that's why I want him at the best friend table.
Nice. I can see him there.
Yeah.
We can hang out.
And he's actually really good looking, like kind of that total like rugged sailor vibe look.
Yeah.
Just like a big beard, but with like
That's always what I remember
clear
is the
eyes that
big
look
beard.
at you
Yeah.
and are like, yes, I'm here. I know who I am. Like, oh, your confidence is stirring. Is it weird that I'm hitting on a dead man?
Of course. No.
Very old dead man.
It's like I was talking to my friend today, and I was like, she was like, oh, like the kind of guys that I used to be attracted to, and the kind of guys I'm attracted to now. And she's like, I feel so old, and I like all these old looking guys. And I'm all like, I had a crush on Al Pacino when I was in high school, so I don't know. Maybe I've always been really old. Like,
Yeah. My first crush was Colin Farrell. And he was significantly older. And he's still good looking.
Yeah.
Wait, Farrell
Farrell,
or
Colin?
Firth? Which one's which? It's Colin
Firth
Farrell is the British.
Mr. Darcy.
Firth is Mr. Darcy.
Firth is Mr. Darcy, and Farrell's the Scottish one.
Okay, so Colin Firth
Okay,
is my first crush.
Oh my gosh, she's so
I
cute.
hate that those names are so close because I can never remember.
When I was at Sundance, I saw some movie because his wife is like a producer or whatever, and he ended up like sitting in the like I was in like this like second or third row or something like that, and then she's up there like talking, and he was like maybe like 4 or 5 chairs away from me.
Oh,
I know, and it was like, oh my god,
I love you.
Colin Firth is like right there.
You're
And I only realized it because like then she's like asking him to come up, and I'm like, no, keep him here. I can almost smell him.
You're just like leaning over like 3 people. What are you doing?
I'm trying to smell Colin Firth. Shut up.
Oh god, I loved him so much. I was like 9 and I was like obsessed with him because of the PBS version, the mini series with him as Mr. Darcy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and like obviously that role inspired so many people because then that is why he was Mr. Darcy in Bridget Jones.
Yeah, Bridget Jones. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, oh my god, I love you.
He's the Mr. Darcy forever.
He's the Mr. Darcy forever and ever.
I know. If he was younger, you know he would have been in like the Keira Knightley one too as Mr. Darcy because he's just like perfect.
He's perfection as a human being.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Melville,
he's great too.
He's great, yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of the cocktail that pairs with Herman?
Yeah. I mean, I think, obviously it's like, it's picked from the book and everything. And so it's its own world or whatever. So I don't really know. I don't think there's anything, because you didn't feel like, oh, and then I added this little or whatever.
No, I just did it. It was perfect because it was aesthetically so cool.
Yeah.
If I had a little toy boat, I probably would have been.
I know, right?
I know. I wanted to try and think of like how to incorporate more of his adventures, but he had so many. It would have been like just like a giant. It would have been like what's the breakfast cocktail?
Bloody Mary.
It would be like a Bloody Mary, but like not. So I was like, I don't really want to make a Bloody Mary, but
yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I think it's good, and I feel like that drink is the kind of drink you could put in those like comically large fishbowl things that restaurants have, like Applebee's or whatever. I don't know. TJ Fridays.
Yeah, and with like just like ice and like random things.
Yeah, you could even have like
umbrella
ice cubes that are the fish ice cube thing.
I was actually
a bunch of umbrellas.
Have you ever seen Never Been Kissed?
Yeah.
So the one girl where he like orders that comically large cocktail, and she like completely downs it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm feeling drunk," and he's like, yeah, there's actually no alcohol in this. I use this as a trick. You know that scene?
Oh yeah, I think
it's that same color.
Yes, it
is. It is the same color from that scene.
It's a cocktail that would look real fun in a giant fishbowl with like things floating around in it, a giant little castle at the bottom of it.
I would love it. Anyway, that's the adventure of Herman Melville, who's just super cool.
Yay!
Did you like it?
I did.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yo ho, pirates left for me.
Yeah, now go and read his adventures, not just Moby Dick, but the other ones.
Yes.
About him traveling to Tahiti and
that sounds fun.
Cannibals.
Yay. Cool. Well, like us on Instagram. We're also kind of on Twitter, but not really. And we're on YouTube, I guess, as well. Woohoo. Did you know that we're on YouTube?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out, Herman. We love you.
Yeah.
You're great.
Bye.
Research done for this podcast was through PBS, Britannica, Wikipedia, Facts, King, Mental Floss, and Interesting Lit.